This is the Anatahata in Sanskrit, and it means unstricken. In the Bible, it says, "Protect your heart from everything you do flows from it. Above all else, guard your heart from everything, for everything you do flows from it." That's where you do everything from. From the mouth, the heart speaks. From That's where you get your inspiration from. This deals with love. And so there's even two chakras in this space, two main chakras. There's a higher heart chakra located not in the center of the chest along the spine, but more along the heart valve. And this chakra is the higher heart. And this is more so selfless love. This chakra is self love. This chakra, the higher heart, is selfless love. A lot of times in the spiritual community, we talk about loving ourselves, and that's definitely key. And growing, and at the beginning of our spiritual journey, a lot of times we need isolation, and a lot of times we like to be alone. And we could kind of like center ourselves around ourselves in spirituality, because the whole thing is to come into an enlightenment, you need to be alone to do so. And it takes like deep introspection and thought. Like, it takes a lot of process. And so you also, like, I didn't know that you also get karma for what you don't do. One of my early teachers told me, Key, he asked me one day, he said, "What do you do?" And I said, I'm like, I work. I draw, I skate. I'm like, I do all these things. Like, he like, "Okay, what do you do, like, on average? And why do you do it?" And I said, like, I kind of do what I feel like doing. And he laughs and he says, "You do what you feel like doing?" And he says, "You do what's right." And I thought about that. He said, "How you feel changes. How you think changes. But right and wrong doesn't change." And that kind of like opened my mind. And it made me think, the moon changes every 28 days. It shifts through all 12 zodiacs. It stays in each sign for 2.5 days, but it also shifts deacons. And so our emotion changes along with situations and experiences. Days, like the energy, activities, experiences. And so it made me think. And so I had some experiences to where I could have helped somebody. And I remember seeing like that I remember seeing that Peter Parker, like the old Spider-Man, like Peter Parker, I remember seeing his what's his name? We still post face. Hold on. I remember seeing that one scene where he says like, where he was wrestling and the guy cheated him out of the money, and he says, "Hold on." He's like, "What are you doing? You could have stopped that guy." When he was going up the elevator, he's like, "Thanks." He's like, "I missed the part where that's my problem." He just wanted to get his lick back by not helping him when he could have helped, because he cheated him out of the money. See, that's not karma. That's revenge. That was his intention. That was revenge. And so the universe may be serving him karma through his revenge, but his revenge is his karma. When he went out, he saw like that his dad, or not his dad, his uncle, he saw that his uncle got shot. And he could have stopped this guy. And so he saw the impact of his actions when he said, with great power comes great responsibility. Like if you know something, like if you can do something, if you can help, if you could change something, if you're responsible for something. If it's like a lot of times like we can help people. We can, in a situation, like we see a situation, or like we see anything, like it could be as simple as like holding a door. Like we could see somebody has like, too much in their hands, holding the door for somebody. Or we could see like just anything, like everything we do that we put out into the universe comes back to us. And everything we don't do. It's just one quote, I forget who it's by, but he says, all it takes for evil to triumph is for a few good men to do nothing. And so I thought it was a point where you could stand neutral. And it says in the Bible, if you lukewarm, I spew you out. There's no like in between. There's no in between. And so it's like, if you're present in a situation and you can't help, and you choose not to help, you will get karma for that. You will be in a situation where you need help, and this happens. So it's not a thing of you like not wanting to get involved or wanting to take a neutral standpoint. You will also receive karma for that. This is not like going out of your way, but if you're like present, if it's easy, if it's easy, if it's inclined, like, and you even think about it, but you let something stop you, a fear of some sort, you get karma from that. What blocks the heart chakra is grief. This is more so the self, the higher heart, selfless love. It talks in the Bible like about how we give love, but what good is it to give love to those who give you love? Like, of course, like, reciprocation, but those who don't give it or really need it and don't give it, this is the selfless love. Also, like doing right and aligning with your purpose and allowing God to use you. Because sometimes God will call you to do things that don't pertain to what you want to do or what you felt like doing or what you feel like doing. And you'll be called to do it. And this is more so in the selfless or the higher heart, the selfless love. Because everything isn't about you. A lot of times we talk about spirituality and we talk about the ego and we talk about perception and our reality. But the reality is everything is a part of the whole. We're all a part of the circle of life. Not the triangle, the circle, the cycle. And we have to play our part. We have parts in people's lives. We have parts in society. We have parts in community. We have parts in family. We have parts at work. And this is more so the higher heart. In the heart chakra, it typically deals with, this typically deals with self-love. But when we get love, it's first shown to us by our mothers. We also get it from our father, but that first love is even before birth. And so it happens with the mother. And even as you're an infant, it's first starting with the mother and the feminine principles. As you grow and as you mature, you go into more of the masculine principles. And so, typically in the household or in the community, or as transferring energy and as upbringing, you're supposed to get a sacrificial love from the father. The father sacrifices his time and he works, he protects the home, he provides. And you're supposed to get more, and he disciplines and he leads and he protects and he provides, and he's supposed to get more of the unconditional love from the mother. You know, like, this is more like how they say, like, you got a face that only a mother could love. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like saying that's unconditional love. Your mother loves you in a certain way. And that's because you literally came from her. And you are literally a part of her. We get 100% of our mitochondrial DNA from our mother. And she is more the nurturer. And she more so deals with nurturing, bathing, teaching, nursing. And this is more of an unconditional love versus a sacrificial love. And we're supposed to get both of these loves to make up our concept of our self-love. The heart chakra deals with self-love. We're put here on earth as to love. And there's so many different types of love. There's love we have between family. There's love we have between friends. There's love we have between others, just like community, just even animals, nature. Even some people love material. There's all different, and our self-love and the love of activities. Like, love is a way of life. Love is a religion. And most religions are based in love. Like, we see Jesus Christ make a sacrifice, sacrificial love. And this is in the higher heart chakra. When he was in the garden, God called him to his purpose. When he asked God to take this cup from me, God called him to his purpose. He said, your will be done, which meant he was going into his purpose was not what I want. I love myself enough to not want to go through this, but your will be done. That's your will. That's something higher. That's the higher heart. A selfless love. It's not about you. God created you for a purpose. We are here to love and share experiences and have experiences and love life. But nothing is ours. And nothing belongs to us. We're part of a whole. And we may think we're bigger. We may think we're bigger than the next person. Or bigger than a fly or an ant or an animal or a tree. But we're not. That's the triangle. But we're a part of the circle of life. Everything works in spirals and cycles and circles. We elevate in consciousness with the triangle. Both the masculine and the feminine aspects. The sun and the moon. Ida and Pingala. Isis and Ra. Is Ra El. The third. All three are one. The balance happens in the third eye, like a kaleidoscope. I had these crystals on to help align my third eye. Lapis lazuli, amethyst, blue aventurine. We have chakras on our head as well. We have a chakra that aligns with our heart, in the center of our heart line, in the center of our head. This is why the Egyptians used to wear crystals. This tunes our instrument. We are separate from our body. Our body is an instrument. Even our mind is an instrument. Our emotions are energy. That's an instrument. We are actually outside of all of this. When we transcend into the crown, when we transcend, we are everything, we are nothing. We are pure energy. Light. In the heart chakra, that's the philosopher's stone. That's the key to alchemy. And that's the key even to consciousness, to Christ consciousness. Christ could not come into consciousness without love. This is why he said, forgive them for they know it, not what they do. studies showed that love given does not just provide more nutrition. They did a study on children in an orphanage. 2 sets. Everything was constant. Same meal. Same activities. Same procedure. The only variable was they hugged the child and told them they loved them and good night. And they hugged them in the morning and said good morning. And that was the variable. The other children, they didn't. And they showed that the others actually were more healthy. They had metabolized the nutrition using alchemy. And that's the power of love. That's what we bless things with. Like when you bless something, and that's why we're not supposed to let everybody pray for us, or we're not even supposed to eat everybody's food or come in contact with things, because things hold energy. When you bless things, you do it with love. God is a spirit, you must worship him in spirit and truth. And he says, who knows the hearts of men but God? We do everything from our heart. Everything with love. When we do things with intention, everything has an intention. Sometimes we're not conscious of our intentions, but every intention we put out comes back to us. And so when we do things with love, we're always blessed. That love comes back to us. Same with negativity. Every intention, like if you have an intention of any intention, I don't even want to say it, because just speaking words have vibrations. Speaking words are spells. And so we deal with the heart chakra. When we talk about love, that's how we bless things. When your grandma come in, she cooks something, she could have baked some cookies. It's something about grandma's cookies. It's something about, you feel me? Whatever meal that somebody cooks, when they cook with love, when you do anything with love, it's blessed. That's the intention you put towards it. And so everyone is a reflection. Everyone is a reflection of us. Everything is a reflection of us. Even everything that we do is truly a relationship that we have with ourselves. It's a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. What we eat is a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. Our activities, everything. Everything shows us how much we love ourselves. And we can only love another to the capacity that which we can love ourselves. Like, if somebody can't keep it real with you, it's like, it's really like they live a lie and they can't keep it real with themselves. And you're not the only one. It's not something that you should even take personal. It's really a lot of things we even take personal. What blocks the heart chakra is grief. It's a lot of times we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. Like when we see our loved ones pass, what we see is what's left and the vessel, the vehicle, and that's not them. And so a lot of times I don't even go to wakes or funerals. That's not them. Funerals are more for the living. It's their their they have their soul has passed on. They're back with source. That's not them. And so a lot of times we get attached and we experience grief. Like we can we can think we can think like we can feel sad. Like one thing that gave me peace was a verse that my grandpa, like, I found in his Bible. He highlighted where it talks about no longer suffering, no longer like being weakened, no longer like feeling pain. And then I just be imagine being alive, after so long. Cause he was 88. Gemini sun or Virgo sun, Gemini moon. He was 88. And I think about how Mercury takes 88 days to go around the sun. The sun. Every 88 days. But I'm thinking about, I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about the heart chakra. The heart chakra. Right. That's where the cross is at. When we see the cross, like the cross happens at the heart. That's why it's represented as the sun and this as Leo, as the fifth house, as the heart, as the center. That's the first organ that's formed while you're in your mother's womb. And it is conscious. Your heart is your conscious. And that's why EQ is valued as a higher intelligence over IQ. When you feel something before you know it, it's just your ability to interpret what you feel. And that all depends on how in touch you are with your feelings and how sensitive you are. And a lot of times it's like we're taught to not to be sensitive. And you may hear about HSP or hypersensitive people, and people complain about people who are sensitive, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and that people feel like they may be a handful or they complain about them, or they may even think they're bougie or make fun of them. But a lot of times we desensitize ourselves. And I say everything is a relationship of with ourselves. Everything is a relationship. Everything is a reflection of the relationship that we have with ourselves. So if we is really addressing how we love ourselves. So if I'm drinking, remember the first time you tried alcohol, like if you were to drink, it's it burns. It doesn't taste good. And that's not why you're drinking though. But it's something it's something it's something that, you feel me? Hold up. When you drink, you desensitize yourself. And so you ignore the fact that your throat is burning. You ignore the fact that even sometimes, like the last time maybe you threw up. Maybe you got the spins the last time and you rode the train and you made it through. Maybe you blacked out. But it's like you keep desensitizing yourself and your body. And this is showing a relationship. This is showing a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself, of the love that you have yourself. You know that you're drinking poison. And you know that you're harming your body. But in exchange, you're feeling a blissful state, a happy state. And so you make that exchange. And so it's really that reflection. It's a toxic, like when we have toxic relationships, it's only a reflection that we have. It doesn't matter either side that you're on. It's only a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself. And so it's all about self-love. And that's what the heart chakra is about. And I even think about love. Like when we think about manifestation, a lot of times when we reach, things are out of our grasp. When we chase things, they're out of our reach. When we begin to reach for something, I'm looking at the heart line and I'm seeing all the chakras along the spine, the 7 or 9 or more. And the heart is in the center. This is what casts the vibration. It casts a physical vibration. Like when we make a pulse on our skin, our heart physically beats. And so it physically casts a vibration, an electromagnetic field, which makes up our aura. And so our heart is really a key chakra. It's the key to everything. It's the key to your mind. It's the key to your life. It's the key to how you feel. It's the key to how you think. It's the key to your life. Love is your superpower. There's a lot of things that block the heart chakra. This is why Jesus says, pick up your cross and follow me. My burden is easy and my yoke is light. Love sometimes will get you hated. Sometimes people will hate the way others love you. Sometimes people will compete for your love. Sometimes people will feel jealous or envious that somebody else is getting your love, or that you're giving your love to somebody else. It's something to where people, And love is so something that's priceless, because love is something that money can't buy. And so love is really the true currency when we talk about energy. Like, that's really the true currency. And that's why it's represented as the Gemini, as the man and the woman. That's why the heart chakra in in the zodiac is represented as the lovers, the man and the woman, representing thought and feeling, taking both into account. When Adam and Eve were in the garden, that represented the mind and the body. The temptation represented the serpent was Ida, or Luna, or representing the moon, or the feminine aspect of feeling, of temptation. It's a desire. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that we had. But Adam is supposed to represent the head, or the mind, which is he's supposed to be disciplined enough to deny this and act in order, or obey in obedience to God. And so he gave into his temptation. But this is represented as the man and the woman. This is both what you feel and what you think, both taken into account. This is fire, earth, air, and water. This is where they meet. And this is the bridge between the higher plane and the lower plane. This is above and below, the masculine and the feminine. This is where they meet, and both are necessary for love and for life. They're represented as positive and negative, but this is how you have any circuitry. You have a ground, you have a hot, and you have a return. Both are for balance. We look at equality, but both are for balance. We talk about the sun, the moon, and we talk about God, or we talk about unity, or we talk about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the divine feminine. This is why he looks to her and she looks to the angel. Women are smarter than men. It's not only do they develop faster, they have certain distinctions and abilities. And this is because of our purpose. Women are more receptive and men are more projective. Or direct. And so she was in tune. She went to the tree of life and the tree of knowledge so that she could experience. She wanted to have experience. She wanted to have freedom. She was a free spirit. And she was underneath Adam's control. And so she ate from the seed of the earth. Adam would not, or not Adam, Lilith would not submit to Adam. But Eve was submissive. And this is where we get the two bloodlines from. Eve is the serpent that set, or Lilith is the serpent that set Eve free. We talk about the heart chakra. We work more in the physical as men. This is why this is our purpose. And we are to protect, build, and serve more in the physical realm. And she is to protect and work in the spiritual realm. And heal. And this is why she is looking to the angel. And he is looking to her. Because she can see into the physical. But she can also see into the spiritual. She has a higher connection. She is in tune with the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine. And so he is looking to her for guidance and also to know love. A mother's love is the first love. It is your first lesson in love, your first example of love, your first experience of love. It is the foundation of love. Like if you were to go to marriage counseling or you were to talk about your relationship, a lot of times people will ask, how is your relationship with your mother? How's your relationship with your father? Or vice versa. And so this is something to where these are our first understandings of love, representing the masculine and feminine aspect as sacrificial love and unconditional love. See, he is burning with passion. He is sacrificing for her. And he made the sacrifice when he took the fruit, when he ate of the fruit. because he knew better, because God told him. But he made the sacrifice to eat of the fruit. And so he gave into his emotions. Which could have been based in love and temptation. And so he made this sacrifice for Eve. Because he loved Eve. This is representing sacrificial love. With the flames burning, the 12 flames burning of passion. He made this sacrifice for Eve. He went against what God told him. And so he showed a sacrificial love. He didn't eat the fruit on his own. Notice how God told him, and he could have got it himself. He could have just went over there with her like, oh yeah. But it tells you that first she was tempted and she ate of the fruit, and then she got him to eat of the fruit, and he's looking to her. He loves her. But she is not bound to men. She looks up because she is bound to God. And this is also showing the feminine, the key to the spiritual realm. He is ascending into spirituality by going into the spiritual principles and accessing the key, love. This is also showing the triangle of the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine, within the higher plane, the third eye, the union of them both. Love brings ascension. You cannot ascend to the higher chakras without love. And this is the key between the higher and the lower realm. And she was representing unconditional love. Because she did it anyway. She disobeyed. And what does God do? What's the one thing God is known for? He's always forgiving. And the only reason unaliving is the unforgivable sin is because you're not alive to ask for forgiveness. And so God is always forgiving. But the thing about forgiveness is God is a spirit, and we have to worship him in spirit and in truth. And so God knows our heart. We can't lie to God. And so he even knows our intention. Like we could say like this. I remember when I was younger, my mama used to do this. Like if we get in an argument, like I got on my mama's side, I got three brothers, 2 older brothers, a younger brother, 2 older sisters, and a younger sister. And it's like I live with an older sister. I grew up with an older sister, a younger sister, and a younger brother. And so when we used to get, we was all 2 years apart, and we used to get into it, like, we used to fight, squabble, or whatever, like, or like over anything, toys, like food, whatever, just throwing stuff, or TV, want to watch TV, play the game, anything. It's like, we'd get into it, and my mama she'd be like, okay, now forget them. She'd make all this, like, sometimes we don't want to forget them, and we'll be mad. And she'd be like, but hug them. She, like, first she'd say, like, say you're sorry, and this is apologizing. I wouldn't, like, I wouldn't say sorry, like, but, I understand the sentiment. Like, I would say I apologize, because, saying that, we talk about spells and words. I would say I apologize, but, that's the I understand where it's coming from, type shit. But we would apologize, right? And then we would hug. She'd be like, now hug. And we would look at each other like, what? I don't want to hug. Like, because we still upset, or we still mad. We're still attached in the heart chakra. Because that's the thing. We could say, like, I could say I could forgive you. But if every time I see you, I'm feeling some type of way, or I'm treating you some type of way, or I'm physically feeling a reaction in my body, like I'm having a spiritual reaction or an emotional reaction, and that means I'm holding on to an attachment, because there's an emotion there, which means and if there's emotion there, that means there's an attachment there, and it's not flowing. Because if I had no attachment to it, if I see a stranger, hey, what's up? Unless you're like, really, like, you feel me, like, holding attachments. Like, if you were prejudiced or racist, or you felt some type of way, maybe you held anger. It's like everything that you hold in your heart will be reflected into you in the world. And so she used to make us hug. So it's like, she used to make us hug, and that would show us and show her, like, okay, you don't forgive them. And so this would be something to where it's like, we might be like, like, no, but when it's true forgiveness, then it's like, okay, it's something that you feel, and it's not something you just say or think, or you just act like. And sometimes it takes shadow work, because sometimes people feel like, they can't let it go for whatever reason. Sometimes people feel like they need closure. But the thing is, people only feel that way because they have they may have trouble understanding and accepting and coming to the final stages of releasing it. Because when you hold no emotion, it's just, hey. Or you may feel namaste, you may feel a love as recognizing another individual, knowing that that's you. Or you may feel, hey, like it's just somebody else. You may just be passing. You may be going somewhere. You may be in a rush. You may be, hey, you don't feel anything particular. There's not anything that's convicting. Or you may feel an attraction, or you may be free for any other emotion to arise. Because the heart chakra also deals with the air. And this is why it's shown as Gemini. But it's also forgiving, unconditional. Yes, she disobeyed. God always forgives. Only thing with forgiveness is if you're sincere in your heart. And repenting is not just saying you have to admit to yourself, you have to understand. You have to understand what you did. And then making the change. There's a feeling base in your heart of why you do any action that you do. Even if you're hungry. at the core base is self-preservation, because you love yourself. And so this is the air chakra. And the air always changes. The winds always change. The winds have changed. Air is light. And we talk about the air signs like Libra and Aquarius. Aquarius are known for being estranged or trailblazers or separated, isolated, loners. And Libras are known for the scale and of balance. Geminis are known for their duality. And that's the love-hate. There's a thin line between love and hate. But the thing about love and hate is would you forgive her if she disobeyed? And hurt your feelings? Would you, or hurt your pride or your ego? Which in turn hurt your feelings. She is represented as the rib, as the heart, as the emotions. And would you forgive him if he explored and had these 12 flames? And hurt your emotions. Forgiveness. Unconditional love and sacrificial love. When we talk about unconditional love, this is also in the higher chakra. Unconditional love it's a love that's rarely seen. And it's the love of the divine feminine. It's a higher love. And it's a love a lot of times you see that we may get from our mothers. Unconditional love comes from the mother. And that's supposed to be our first example of it. And this love is in the higher heart of a selfless love. It's unconditional. And that means I love you based not in performance, what you can provide, what you're doing, what you do or what you don't do, if you listen to me, if you disobey, if you got fat, if you got skinny, if anything happened, I would still love you the same. That's unconditioned. There are no conditions on my love for you. And this is a selfless love, because even if you hurt me, I still love you. That is unconditional love, which is a higher form of love. This is operating outside of self-love. Because if you exercised unconditional love, then you can do so in a toxic relationship and exercise unconditional love. And you may experience a toxic relationship. And if you stay in a toxic relationship giving unconditional love, this will be a reflection of the lack of love that you have for yourself, for allowing yourself to experience this and enable it, because it takes two to tango. Confirmation. There's a thin line between love and hate. That's the Gemini, the mirror. We were made in God's image, her reflection. When we reflect things, a lot of times people don't like the duality of a Gemini. But we express, and a lot of times people don't like the fact that we reflect back to them the things that they don't see about themselves. A lot of times Geminis do this subconsciously, and sometimes Geminis do this intentionally as a way to show you yourself. But imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And so it's how you look at it. And there's a thin line between love and hate. For you to hate someone, you must first love them. You can't hate anyone that you didn't love first. It's impossible. And this is why a lot of situations happen. You see things happen in between families. You see things happen in between relationships. You see some of the most vile things happen between family and relationships. You even hear about fatal attraction. Because in order for you to hate someone, you must first love them. And when you truly come into, and this is why you can't go through this is why this is the key to the feminine. The feminine yin energy is the key to the spiritual world. Because in this society, it's male dominated, and we live in a patriarchal society, and we're taught to think differently. And so a lot of times we have our ego in this world because it's a male dominated society. The earth is feminine. She's a feminine spirit. The moon is feminine. The sun is masculine, the air is masculine. The magma is masculine. The tornadoes are masculine. The soul is masculine. And the spirit is feminine. This is why you couldn't pass into priesthood until you were in touch with the feminine principles. And a lot of times people ask, are you in touch with your feminine? Are you in touch with your feminine side? Because in life, there's certain tasks and things that you can't even do if you're not even in touch with your feminine. Like, creativity is feminine. If you Money is feminine, attraction is feminine. If you were to sell, it's feminine energy. If you were to be around kids, it'd be a nurturing, protective, feminine energy. In a relationship, in a marriage, when the woman is pregnant, you see that they share energy. The male takes on the woman's energy. And he even drops his testosterone because he's preparing to be more nurturing for a child. And so he's going to be less aggressive, even though he may be more protective. And so studies show that testosterone levels even drop during a woman's studies show that men's testosterone levels drop during a woman's pregnancy if the man is with the woman. And this is why you also see, like, you may hear the term dad bod. That's because his testosterone drops. You may even see he may even develop breasts, and he may develop a gut. He's out of balance. And this is something that happens by, even you heard the term man eater. Because the woman is I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. The woman is the negative force, and the man is the positive force. But if the man's source is not balanced, then it will be depleted. And this is why you see women cheat. They do this instinctually and subconsciously. It's because they feel as though they're not satisfied or they're not being fed. And so, this is the thing. We talk about the heart chakra. We talk about the heart chakra. So, you must first, you can't hate anybody until you love them first. And there's a thin line. A lot of times it's looked at as positivity and negativity. That thin line is between the man and the woman, between how you think and how you feel, what you say and what you do. This is the constant argument between the man and the woman, negative and positive. It's because the opposites trying to understand each other, and the opposite may have an inverted polarity. They work together as not equal, but as balanced. she has a connection to a higher power, naturally. Being the first creation, we all start off as women. The heart is the first. We all start off as women in the womb. The heart is the first chakra developed. The mother is the first teacher. We were created in their image. This is why we have nipples. Not for milk or implants. Once the X broke off, you had the XY. Or you had the XY. And so that's the thing. It's right there. It's the thin line in between the two. Negativity and positivity. The good times and the bad times. The reason why you cannot get attached to either. This is like when you move into the higher heart, and this is why this chakra is above the heart chakra, and it's actually before the throat chakra, because you must access the heart, the higher heart. When you love unconditionally, it's not because, well, I like them because they did good or because they didn't do good. It's not because, oh, they got money now, or not, or they're famous now, or it's not because of that, or they did something good. I always love them. I love them because I see them as myself. I see them as my closest reflection, or a reflection. Everything is your reflection. The idea of closeness is only in relativity. And that's the ability to relate and connect. That's the closeness. Developed in a relationship, the relativity, and the connection, and initiations, and shared experience, and understanding, and the bond gathered. But you are to hold on to neither experience, the positive experience or the negative experience. And this is why you are to love the good and if you really love somebody, you're accepting the good and the bad. You're accepting everything that comes with them. And I had a friend, I used to go to job club, I had a friend, one time she told me, she was like, hey, Ian, she used to date my homie. I was dating this girl, and we used to double date, and it was a thing, we used to talk sometimes. They'll leave, and it was she'd be we'd talk about you feel me, relationships and stuff. We'd smoke, talk, chop it up. And it was she sat back and told me one time, she was love is not just a feeling. And I'm like, what? She was like, love is a commitment. And I was she was like, love is a commitment. And I was just, that's unconditional love. Love is a commitment. That's God's love. That's faith. That's unwavering love. That's why they call it, in a relationship, being faithful. It's even if you agreeing to love someone, it's accepting everything that comes with them. So if they were to do something, or if you were to even be in a relationship and go forth with something, and something were to happen, it's understanding that it's not, you feel me, it's not even necessary that you stay with somebody, because I don't even want to get into that, because again, this deals with the earth chakra. So it's like, the truth is, everyone is us. Everyone is our reflection. And so we get attached to things. And so we may want something to be ours forever. We may want to be with somebody forever. We may want this person to not see nobody else or be with nobody else. We may want to spend the rest of our life with them. We may want to come back into this realm and reincarnate with them. We may want to. That's something that's you know, the ego and attachment. And this is why love is at the air chakra, and it deals with the principles of the air sign. If you feel like you can't be alone, it truly is because you don't love yourself. And I'm not saying you have to go and live alone, but I'm saying if you feel as though you just can't be alone, the truth is because you don't love yourself somewhere. And if you're holding a fear of some sort, that fear is where you're not holding a love. The whole body is filled. That light that the whole body is filled with is love. And that darkness is the unknown, which we look at as fear. And so we look at the scale. Anubis balances the heart on the scale with the feather. And your heart is supposed to be lighter than the feather. And that is how you ascend. That's how you ascend to the higher chakras. And that's how you ascend in the afterlife. And so you're not supposed to be holding attachments. And that's on the people as well. A lot of times, and this is why when you move into the higher chakra, before you even get to the throat chakra, you get to the higher heart, where it's a selfless love. Sometimes people actually understand that they're better off without you, or you have to be separated for some reason, or this person is happier with somebody else, or this is the person they're really supposed to be with, or it could be looked at as any situation to where you would have to release something that you love. But the higher love, the higher self-love, is understanding this is what's best for them, and loving them enough to let them go. Whether it is they want to experience something else, or they love something else more, or they want something else more, or they'll be happier. They'll be happier with somebody else, or they'll just be happier without you. This is a higher self-love, because a lot of times we think about attachment, and attachment a lot of times is what has us hold on to negativity, or holds us back, because we cannot attach to anything, especially if we're manifesting or even quantum jumping. Our attachments stop us. Attachments to our emotions, even attachments to people. This is my this is my, when understanding we're sharing an experience. I mean, if two people come together and they decide that and they make a vow, that's fine. That's a understanding between two people. But understanding that even outside of that, you two will be separated. And even while you're together, like, nobody belongs to you. Like, God created us, all of us. Like, no one belongs to us. Even, like, our children don't belong to us. And we think we belong. Like, we think that, like, a lot of our life is already fated. We have fate and we have destiny. The fate is the things that we can't change. That's the things like the cutscenes. That's the boss battles. That's the backstory. That's the, you know, the principles. That's the stages. That's the process. That's the purpose. That's the cards that are dealt. That's the blueprint. That's your astrological blueprint. That's your fate. But you also have a destiny. Your destiny is how you play those cards that you were dealt. How you utilize the gifts that you have. How you use your energy. How you use the energy in your environment. What you manifest and what you do with the time that you have in your vessel. What choices you make. That's really all you got is time and choices. We think we have a lot of things, but we really don't. And we're really, when we come into alignment, we're supposed to detach from these things. When we do enough laps around the earth, we'll understand that. We'll understand that nothing is ours. That everything changes. That every day is the same 24 and every 365 is the same year. And that all we have is time and choices, and that nothing belongs to us. And then we'll learn to enjoy every moment and everything and live in the moment. And that's the air. The air is passing. Like, when the air is trapped, it becomes stagnant. When the water is trapped, it becomes stagnant, and it festers, and this is what happens with stagnant energy. It becomes disease, and it becomes stress, and it becomes ailment, and it like plagues your aura and blocks your chakras. And it can even happen in people's minds, becoming mental disorders. If they hold on to certain attachments and they can't let things go. Like when people hyper-focus, hyper-fixate, obsess, they obsess over the past, or obsess over situations, they can't let things go, they can't move forward, they can't alleviate their ego and understand, like, that we're just like, you know, and even just see other people and understand, like, the next person, like, see past their own ego. And that's why this is the key. He must look to her to understand his heart. She represents his heart, his emotions. He loves her. This is his wife. Most men, we are not in touch with our emotions. And we're even bred not to be. We're bred to be desensitized. And not to be emotional, but to be more logical and disciplined and structured. And so he must look to her for a higher understanding, because she understands EQ. She has an emotional intelligence and the key to the spirit realm, which is the angel. Women are always the best readers. They're always the best prophets, seers. And this is why they call it a woman's intuition, because it comes from the feminine principles. This is the darkness, the beginning, the past, the matter, the matrix, the mother. And so this is the divine feminine. This is the Holy Spirit. When you're reading, you're using receptive energy. Receptive energy is feminine energy. The key to the spirit world is feminine energy. When they used to go to oracles, they would usually be women, because they would have a perception of their sight. This is a reception. They could see things into the future. They had a heightened perception. Perception is feminine. Projection is masculine. And so even hearing things, being clairaudient, that's a feminine energy, because you're receptive to what you hear. You're at a heightened receptivity into another dimension, into your hearing. You're at a heightened frequency of reception, just like a radio station. These gifts come from the divine feminine. And you cannot go into enlightenment or be illuminated, go into priesthood, become Christ without these principles. Notice how Jesus started with the Virgin Mary and ended with the most famous prostitute, Mary Magdalene. They were both Mary. Mary at one state and Mary at another state. She is still whole. Mary represented the moon, the divine feminine. She is still whole. Whether she's the new moon, whether she's waning, whether she's waxing, whether she's the full moon, whether she's the mother, the maiden, or the crone. Whether she was the Virgin Mary or Mary Magdalene, he treated them the same. Treat your first like your last. They were still holy. The thing is it's the ego. And so when we get past how we think about it, the reality is the feeling. And once you feel somebody, you understand them on a deeper frequency. Like when we say, I understand what you're saying, but no, when you're saying you feel someone, you're aligning with what they're saying. You're connecting with it. There's a harmonic convergence. And so you can't hate someone if you didn't love them first. And the thing about that is, we think the opposite of love is hate when it's not. It's actually fear. Fear is the opposite of love. It's not hate. To hate someone, you gotta love them first. That's the thing, a lot of people actually love their family. A lot of people actually love their friends. A lot of people actually love their partners. A lot of people actually love society. But what would they tell you? I don't like being around nobody. Why don't you like being around anybody? Because they've let things in their past. They got things in their past that they're attached to, that they're holding on to in their heart. And so they're not open to experience the love that they could receive, the love that they have. It's the attachments holding them back. And that's the thing. Someone could be jealous of somebody. Do you know that, like, and that's where the alchemy comes in, you understanding and processing it emotionally. Because once you see everything as love, you become enlightened. Just understand, like, if somebody was obsessing over you, watching everything you do, watching your social media, watching everything you post, commenting on, liking everything, like following you, secretly, like maybe you don't even know, they're secretly following you. And if they're in a car following you, they're having their friends follow you, they're gang stalking you, they're obsessed with you, they're talking about you, they're asking about you. Do you know this is a form of worship? They're literally giving you energy. But if you take it, and this is why this is the philosopher's stone. This is where alchemy happens, in between the mind and the heart. If you take it in as negative and you take it personal, why me? And you feel some type of way about it, and you can't understand it. Maybe it's because I'm a bad person. Maybe this you'll internalize it, and then you'll take it as negative energy because your perception of it. Or you could understand it like that's obsession. The truth is that they really love everything about you, and they just can't stop watching you. They can't stop thinking about you. They can't stop getting in the car and follow you. They're at the gas station. They can't get in the car. They're literally stalking. They're having their friend, hey, go follow him. Make sure they're peeking like, oh, who is he with? Who is she with? Did she go? She went into the stove. He just left the gas station. They're literally obsessed with you, and that's really, it's love, but it's not accepted as such, and it's not shown. It's not a proper way of showing it. It's obsessive. And so the thing is, we express things differently. Everybody expresses things differently. And so some people, that's the thing, like when people when people are traumatized and they don't understand, or if they're egotistical, they have all these traumas that they haven't released, and they have their ego that they're holding on to, they could be jealous when really that's love behind that jealousy. You can't hate anyone without first loving them first. And that's the thing. When you envy somebody, if you really want to be them, why do you want to be them so bad? Just really think about that. And this is why all these things block the heart chakra. You want to be somebody else. Why do you want to be why would you want to be anybody else but you? Like, why would you look in the mirror? Why would you wake up, look in the mirror, and say, I wish I was somebody else. I wish I was so-and-so I saw on TV. I wish I was this person. That means you really don't love yourself. You don't love your life. Or maybe you just don't love your life. But it's also showing a reflection of you not loving yourself, because you created your life and you're living your life and you manifested your life. And when you have unconditional love, you can see everything as love. Everything comes back to love, and that's why the higher chakra, or the higher heart, is before the throat chakra of truth. From the heart, the mouth speaks. Confirmation. So you must go into the feminine principle, because a lot of times we're not even in touch with our emotions, and we can't. A lot of times we're not in touch with our emotions, and we don't have this heightened sense of perception, and we're like, you feel me, all this spiritual, like, we don't really know what's this, and like, we don't really understand it, because we're more into the physical world. Like, that's how we're designed, and that's how that pertains to our purpose of protecting and building. And giving and projecting. It's something that's an action and thought. It's something to where it's like we're not in touch with, and we're brought up this way. Society teaches us to be this way. Society subconsciously programs us. To be strong is to feel no pain. We even flex. I can't. You feel me? If we drink, how many shots? Give me the Everclear. I bet you, and I ain't even going. Nope, that didn't even phase. That's our thing. Like if we fight anything, it's like we're taught to feel no pain, and this is for us to master our physical. But what this does is weaken us in the spiritual because it desensitizes us. And that's the thing. Women are more sensitive emotionally and physically. And this is why they have a heightened perception and an understanding to the higher realm. And this is why this is the key to the spirit realm. For you to be perceptive, and you also have to first get past your ego. And the only way to get past the ego is to go into the heart space with love. Because love is not about ego. Love is not about you. Like when people are genuinely like have love within them, sometimes they what they do is express love with everything they do, because love is a way of life. Love is an energy. Love is a religion. Love is everything. Love is an intention, and they put out love with everything they do. And someone could mistake that as, someone could take that personally, like, oh, it's just me, like this is specialized for me, you know, when, or that you're flirting, because they're feeling love. Everything truly is love when it comes back. It's either love or fear. Those are really the only two choices. And we fear what we don't know or what we don't understand. So those are the two choices that we make in the moment. Those are the two choices that we always make. Fear or love in every moment. And this is why this is in the heart chakra. When the lion went to, represented by the Leo, when the lion went to the Wizard of Oz, he found out that he had already had courage. That's why they say you got heart, because it's love. Envy, like if somebody envied you, like you gotta think like they want the life that you got. They want to be. Do you know how much love that is? But it's expressed negatively is the issue. But if you were conscious of that and you understood that, you would accept it as the love that it is, even though that's not how it's expressed, is the issue, which you can address. And this is the thing, like a lot of things come from misunderstanding. And that's because how we think about it and how we feel about it. And the reality of what it is. The higher understanding. You need both. And so Hermes is represented as the Gemini as well, like Hermes meaning the etymology, Hermes, meaning like hermaphrodite, or meaning the man and the woman together. And Hermes in Greek mythology, he is the messenger of God, of the gods. So he also, like, because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, he was the messenger of the gods. So he would have to tell the other gods the message that God had, or that Zeus had. And so, because Zeus represented the sun, the lightning, the god, he's supposed to be the most powerful god, the masculine element, and that's the most masculine elements in nature: fire, thunder, air. Because electricity really just is fire, and everything is truly energy. But if we break it down in those dimensions, and Hermes had to adjust. Hermes had to adjust to each god differently, because, and this is why Geminis reflect. Hermes had to adjust. They reflect as a form of communication, because reflection is communication. Like if somebody say, like, do you understand me? Or like they say, do you feel me? Or they say, we on the same page. Do we speak the same language? It's like, are we in unison? Are we are we in agreement? Are we one? Are we going about this the same way? Are we in alignment? And so that's the reflection. That's part of communication. And that is a subtle part of communication that we do subconsciously. And so Hermes had to speak the language of each god that he came in contact with. Like Aphrodite, he may have to come to Aphrodite like, hey. But when he comes to Aphrodite, he may come like, hey, Aphrodite, hey, I'm nice to meet you. Like, I have a message for you. You're looking lovely. You smell nice. You're looking beautiful as ever. Oh, thank you, Hermes. And what message do you have for me? And, he may come to Aries like, Aries may be like, what's up? What is it? And Hermes might be like, hey, yo, Zeus just hey, you feel me? Like, it's a different, you feel me? He would have to reflect the energy that's being presented. And Hermes would have to travel all the way down into the underworld, as well as the heavens, which is represented between earth and heaven, which is represented between the negativity or aspect, or the feminine aspect, and the masculine aspect of the air and the fire. He would have to speak to all 12. And at the heart, this is the cross. Pick up your heart. Pick up your cross and follow me. It's at the heart where you're crucified. This is where you sacrifice your ego, the son. And you live in your heart space. You were created. This is like when they say when is the earliest, when we talk about abortion, when is the earliest? It has a heartbeat. When does it have a heartbeat? Because that's the first organ form. That is consciousness. That is you. That's the key to your existence, to your reality, to your life, to you manifesting, to your power, to your intelligence, to your nutrition, to your health, to everything, on every level and every dimension. And this is why in the Bible it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything that you do flows from it. And God knows your heart. We may use lie detector tests, and someone may be an empath. But I tell you, like, an empath can detect more than a machine. Depending on, if the ego sacrifice. But we talk about the heart chakra. This is where between heaven and hell, between love and hate. And so it's called Anatahata. Anatahata in Sanskrit meaning unstricken. And so you were never struck. We suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. It's what we hold on to and what we can't let go and what we replay in our mind. Like, you ever see when a kid, like, maybe a kid gets a shot and, like, or even if a kid doesn't get a shot, because I don't even want to go into immunizations, all that. And, yeah. But, vaccines and all that. But, we talk about, like, a kid, like, say a kid was going to get, like, slapped on the wrist. Or, like, even, like, maybe you were to throw a ball to a kid, like a toddler. And maybe it might get scared, or, like, it may even dogs do this. Like, they may go, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." if if they even think they get hit, they call this, like, phantom pain. They call this phantom pain. Like, a kid may start crying just at the idea, or like, "Oh no, I don't," or like they may think, like, like it's over, like, if they're, like, at the doctor or something, like, it's over already, because we create this. Like, we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. The same way pain is in the mind. Like how that monk meditated and lit himself on fire without moving. Pain is in the mind. The thing is, it takes it takes a high, like, years of like, and this is why monks do, like, monks live an extreme lifestyle and they dedicate their lives to spirituality. And this is why they can do the feats that they do, and they're tapped into the spiritual abilities that they're tapped into. But it's possible. Pain is actually in the mind. And a lot of times we create things in our mind. Like, somebody could tell us a lie. Somebody could put a spell over us and tell us a lie that we're believing. Like, people do this to emotionally siphon people from their heart space. Like, they're like, "Oh, I'm in trouble," or "I need help," or, or guilt trip someone. These are things that people put energetic cords on people's heart chakras to siphon the energy from them when they feel guilt. And so it's like, the heart is always, like, the heart can be siphoned from, and the heart is where you do alchemy, and the heart is where you ascend. The heart is so key. That's where the cross is at. The cross is right there in the heart. That's why the top is short and the arms are spread. And so we're not supposed to hold on to anything. Like, and this is something I had to learn. Like, I had to learn this, like,